Just waiting for the change. Keep my head down low. Let the wind take hold.
Hi, Jay Fallon. Thanks for listening to The Slippery Slope. So, got a couple of stories I want to talk about for one episode. The first one is regarding China, but really it all ties into the second story anyway. So it's all China and virus related. Can we put it that way? Now the first one, it's the good old news about another another virus. I'll bring this up for us all to check out. But let's the first one here. China reports new coronavirus with pandemic potential discovered. This is by Tyler Durden. I said that I like to read a lot of his stuff. He actually came out a few days ago. Anyway, stocks suddenly tumbled shortly after lunch, and trading desks are scrambling to find a catalyst with today's big 2.7 trillion options expiration unclenching gamma. The market is more free to move, but many are citing a report by the Daily Mail claiming a new coronavirus has been discovered in the wild, in the wild in China that has the potential to another pandemic. So there's another coronavirus feared to be powerful enough to spread through humans. Has been discovered in China. Discovered, they say. Okay, discovered, or some might say created. Anyway, in scenes eerily reminiscent of the beginnings of COVID, researchers at the infamous Wuhan Institute of Virology detected the new strain living within bats. Living within bats because quite possibly they implanted it into the bats. Anyway, we won't go in there. HK uniform, so Hotel Kilo Uniform 5 Cove 2 is strikingly similar to the pandemic virus, sparking fears that history could repeat itself just 2 years after the worst was declared over. The new virus is even closer related to MERS, a deadlier type of coronavirus that kills up to a third of people it infects. A virologist, Shi Shengli, known as Batwoman, there you go. Batwoman, for her work on coronaviruses, led the discovery, published in a top scientific journal. The new coronavirus, belonging to the Myrbecovirus family of pathogens. Murbo, I always forget how you pronounce this properly. Anyway, Myrbecoviruses have been detected in minks and pangolins. The animal believed to be the intermediary for COVID between bats and humans. Nothing to do with the syringe that they use to inject them. No, it's all to do with this. The scientists wrote, suggests frequent cross-species transmission of these viruses between bats and other animal species. They added, the study reveals a distinct lineage of this new virus. Not going to go through all of it anyway. HKU5 in bats that efficiently use human cells and underscores their potential zoonotic risk. This virus was first detected in bats in 2006, but the new data suggests this CoV-2 has a higher potential for interspecies infection than others, just because they've been messing with it. Don't you believe it? They've been messing with it. However, the potential to spill over to humans remains to be investigated. Oh, the research was conducted by the Wuhan Institute of Virology, the makers of the first one, which is at the center of the lab leak theory. Well, it's hardly a theory, I think, more of a fact, which claims COVID-19 was manufactured in the Chinese lab and accidentally leaked to the public. Accidentally. Don't you love it? Accidentally. Anyway, so we've got this new viruses out there. There's been a few stories coming out. It gets slowly. I think we get drip fed these things, these bits of information. They want us to kind of know about it. Hey, just set off the warning, the alarms. Look, this is coming. Just drip feed us. And then bang, boom, it'll happen one foul swoop. That's what I think. That's the way I think it's going to work this time. It kind of went that way last time, but I think it's going to be a bit more like a tidal wave this time. So the next story, as I said, I do follow Alex Berenson. He's a very good investigative reporter, I believe, and he's still chasing up the COVID debacle and what actually happened with with the virus and with the jab and how it is actually affecting people and what's actually happening, investigating the depths of the destruction that these pharmacy companies have brought upon us. So he's just released this very interesting this research from Yale. Very urgent. Yale researchers have found immune system exhaustion and prolonged spike protein production in some COVID jab recipients. Funny enough, this is why I think I've happened to have seen a few people that seem to have developed different health issues just of the last couple of years, only since they've been jabbed. Anyway, so he says that initially he wrote about this study in December. Now the full data set is out. The results are worse than it was first reported. So a Yale University team led by a top immunologist has found that some people who receive the COVID vaccines have damage to their immune systems, as well as high and rising levels of spike protein in their blood. The researchers released the findings Wednesday in a preprint and hope to publish it soon in a peer-reviewed journal. So you better believe we'll be on that when it comes out. How often these problems occur or if the immune system damage might open people to infections is unclear as yet, but immune system damage, listen to this, immune system damage that researchers found is similar, though not identical, to changes caused by HIV, which is the human immunodeficiency virus that can eventually lead to AIDS. So it's similar, not identical. That's not good. The researchers also found COVID spike protein, the protein mRNA COVID jabs from Pfizer and Moderna cause our cells to make in the blood of patients up to 2 years after vaccination. 2 years later, they're still finding the COVID spike protein. He says that he first wrote about that finding in December, but it looks even more serious now that the preprint is out. The findings came out from the Yale Listen study, which was initially designed to track people with self reported post COVID injuries. It is now expanded to examine what the study's leaders call PVS or post vaccine syndrome, people who have reported autoimmune and other problems I assume that's supposed to be following COVID jabs. The study found that patients with post-vaccine syndrome had low levels of crucial CD4 helper T cells, and some of their CD8 killer T cells showed evidence of what immunologists call exhaustion. The study is small, comparing only 42 people with post vaccine syndrome to 22 control patients who enrolled in the study who did not have similar problems. Further, this study is not prospectively enrolled. I'll say this line again. Further, this study was not prospectively enrolled. In other words, the researchers do not have T cell data from people before they received COVID shots. That's unfortunate, but I suppose no one other than the people that planned it knew this was coming. So for now, they cannot prove the jabs caused any immune dysfunction. The problem is fundamental to any data from any observational study like Listen and difficult to correct. However, Pfizer and Moderna may have sequential collecting T cell data on at least some people they enrolled in their clinical trials in 2020. In that case, it should be possible to examine how T cell levels in those patients have changed over time. Wow, wow, wow. The new findings are particularly credible and concerning because Listen's co chair, Dr. Akiko Iwasaki, is a former president of the American Association of Immunologists who in 2021 called concerns about the mRNA shots absurd. So this doctor said, no, no, nothing to fear here. Now, might be changing his mind. In a press release announcing the preprint's findings this morning, Dr. Iwasaki struck a different tone. This was surprising to find spike protein in circulation at such a late time point. She said, sorry, it's a female. We don't know if the level of spike protein is causing the chronic symptoms, but it could be one mechanism underlying this syndrome. Dr. Harlan Krumholz, a Yale cardiologist and the study's other co-chair, said the study needs to be repeated and expanded with much larger numbers to confirm its findings and discover other possible outcomes. Those would include if the immune system dysfunction improves or worsens over time, if spike protein levels continue to rise, and why people continue to have spike protein in their blood long after it should be gone. So there you go. China's, ringing the alarm bell saying, oh, we've found another virus, just happens to be out there in the wild. The Batwoman just found it, been monitoring it since 2006. Look at this. It's, look at this. This might cause another pandemic. What do you know? Um, and then, as reported, as you could see there, there's very dire concerns that the vaccine still causing issues several years later. Oh, what's going to happen if another plan comes on board and then they turn out and say, oh, well, we fixed the issues we might have had a few issues, but look, we've got another jab. Oh, the other one wasn't that bad. We, keep telling people we saved millions and millions and millions of lives. But, take this new jab. And then in another year's time, you have even more, I won't say the word, but even more issues. I'll get banned again. Even more issues because, they've mixed the first one is getting mixed with another jab that they've formulated that they just happen to have on hand. So a couple of things to take away from all these stories. I think China rattling its saber over New Zealand and Australia, flexing its military muscle, is just signs that it knows economically it's on the turn, it's on the downslide, and that's why it's doing it. And I think it's just going to push it further along, to be honest. But again, China, supposedly ringing the warning bell about a new virus is just going to push it further along again, and we're going to see this. What people are saying, well, a possible economic collapse. I think it's not just possible. I think it's definitely going to happen. It's going to push it further along and probably just push us over the precipice, like I said. And this is all going to possibly tie in with issues we've already had from the previous plan. And we'll see that these issues with the previous jab all tie in together. Could this be? Could this be? The long the long denied plan to try and bring down the global population because everyone cites, when I say everyone, all the globalists cite that for the sake of climate change, it'd be better if we had a smaller population, obviously. Less cows farting, less people wanting to eat cows, all that kind of thing. Less people taking up the vital resources. So obviously, they don't want to say the quiet part out loud that how do you get less people? Could this be where it's all going? Another plan coming down the line, leading into another jab, which mingles with the effects of the first jab, which just pushes these people who have already got compromised immune systems over the edge, and all this pushing China into a major, well, into absolute economic free fall, which it's already on there on the radar anyway, but an economic free fall that it can no longer deny and can no longer hide. So an economic free fall that everyone can see, and then the whole world will end up going into an economic free fall. Is that where we're going? I think it's very possible because I think, well, the Bible lays out where how things are going to end up during the end of days, the tribulation period, and so I think this is possibly the start of everything coming together, and very interesting the way Alex Berenson lays out there with this report how all these people being affected, their immune systems being brought down, and all those conspiracy theorists that were talking about how it's affecting our immune system and how these jabs are going to be the end of us, are going to kill a lot of people. Could this be what's coming? Could this be how they're going to bring it all about? I don't know. It's a little scary to think about in some ways. My hope is in Christ. So, but anyway, look, I think it's all very interesting. I think we need to keep our eye on the news and keep our eye on people who are actually investigating these things and think about them in a biblical perspective. Anyway, that's just my opinion. You let me know what you think. I'm Jay Fallon. Thanks for listening to The Slippery Slope. Please like and share and check out my music if you get a chance. Thanks for listening to The Slippery Slope.
They just fuel a desire that will take me higher. I'm on fire because nothing's gonna